It's been a while since Dragonball Daima has wrapped up, so at this point, if you haven't seen the series yet, that is on you. But I think it's safe to dive into the ending right now and kind of talk about this short but eventful 20-episode series. Should you watch it? Is it worth your time? Let's get into it. If there's one thing that can be said about Dragonball Daima, it is this. Dragonball Daima is not Dragon Ball Z. If you're going into this expecting the build-up and the pacing of Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super, you're gonna be in for a surprise because the series is more like classic Dragon Ball than anything else. It's an adventure at first, with a much slower build-up to the big Dragon Ball moments. And honestly, that's totally fair. It's a different kind of Dragon Ball experience, and whether or not you vibe with it kind of depends on what you're looking for. The setup's really simple, right? It's just classic Dragon Ball shenanigans. The series takes place after the Buu saga, and after Deborah's death, the newly appointed Demon King Goma decides to use the Dragon Balls to nerf Goku and his friends in hopes of preventing them from interfering with his plans. And then we're introduced to a lot of new characters. He has his lackeys kidnap Dende, which then kicks off our whole adventure with Goku and friends, and they jump right into the demon realm to go rescue him. At least, that's the whole intro in a nutshell, right? But there's more to it. See, unlike Dragon Ball Z, Daima eases us in with a more traditional journey. It takes its time to introduce new locations, new mysteries, maybe some character interactions here and there. Now, if you've got the patience, this approach really does pay off in the end. But if you're here for immediate, high stakes combat, that pacing might not be for you. One of the coolest things about Daima is how it expands the Dragon Ball universe. We finally get a real look at the Demon Realm, a place that's been teased for years but never really properly explored. We've heard about it from characters like Deborah, we've seen bits and pieces of it in Dragon Ball Heroes, we've caught glimpses in the manga, but this is the first time that we're actually doing kind of a deep dive into the Demon Realm. We're also introduced to a bunch of new characters, amazing characters. Some are mysterious, some are hilarious. Honestly, there's a pick in there for everybody. And we get new lore. We get a bunch of new lore for the Dragon Ball series, which is wonderful. The series introduces us to the different demon realms, each with its own history, its power structures, unique environments, and it's fresh, it's different. It's great to see something that isn't just like another tournament or a remixed version of an old enemy from an older arc. Honestly, this feels like a mix of Dragon Ball GT and the original Dragon Ball, with a little bit of extra, fantasy sprinkled in here and there. But if the idea of Goku being a kid again makes you roll your eyes or it just pisses you off, then yeah, the show just might not be your thing. Now, Daima does get a lot of things right for Dragon Ball, but I also feel like it has issues. The biggest one being its pacing. Unlike Dragon Ball Z or even Dragon Ball Super, where fights are kind of breaking out constantly, Daima is more about exploration, a little bit of world building, and kind of like a slow burn style of storytelling, and that is not for everybody. That being said, when Daima delivers, it really delivers. Seeing Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku make their return is just peak Dragon Ball fan service. And personally, I do still prefer the original GT design for Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I like the black hair and the yellow eyes more than I do this design, but just seeing these forms in 2025 is a major win for the fans and the fan base as a whole, and I'm grateful that we have Super Saiyan 4 in canon overall. But yeah, the main problem is that you kind of just have to wade through a lot of the setup to get to these moments, and if you got the patience, the payoff is solid. If there is one thing I can't defend though, it is the finale. I feel that the last episode kind of feels super rushed, and we do start off already mid boss battle, and there's barely any build up, and before you know it, we're at the end, and we kind of get your classic Toriyama gag ending, which is expected. It's kind of bittersweet, honestly, if you think about it. But for a series that took its time setting everything up, the lack of a proper payoff is kind of frustrating. It leaves us with way more questions than actually giving us answers that we want. And then there's the biggest question, right? Is Dragon Ball Daima canon? I mean, technically it could fit somewhere in the timeline, but it's messy, right? We never see Goku really use Super Saiyan 4 later on against his fight with Beerus, and it really is just a whole messy experience that doesn't have a lot of explanation. So So a lot of people are led to believe that it could be its own timeline, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having a Dragonball Daima continuity. Honestly, I think it's up to you, and there isn't really a definitive answer right now. And knowing Dragon Ball, they ain't gonna tell us shit. But at the end of the day, Dragonball Daima is solid. Flawed, but solid. It is a very good addition to the franchise, and I think the entire goal here is to change the way that the Western audience views Dragon Ball in terms of what canon even is, right? Maybe change the way that we digest Dragon Ball content. Think of it in the same way that Marvel fans can enjoy multiple variations of their favorite characters, and where like everything is technically considered canon within its own universe. And once again, if we look at Marvel, you know, unfortunately Stan Lee is not with us, and now, unfortunately, Akira Toriyama is not with us. That doesn't mean that we can't enjoy or even partake with any future content just because they are no longer involved in these projects. But if you're down for an adventure, a Dragon Ball heavy story, and you know, you really enjoy these characters, you're gonna have fun with it. But overall final verdict, 7 out of 10, a good time, but not for everybody. Let me know what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy Dragon Ball Daima? Would you guys be down for another season? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Dragon Ball content. I'm Devil Artemis. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.